Hello and welcome to Rebloom, where we talk about facts and empower women. Today we're going to be diving into a phase which is in every woman's journey. We're going to be explaining what menopause really means, how to navigate it, and how to support yourself and others whilst going through it. Whether menopause is knocking at your door or it's a while away, this is a really important subject to learn. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to today's guest, Rachel. Rachel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Rachael. I'm 43. I'm a mum to 3 kids and I work full time and I'm currently experiencing perimenopausal symptoms.
Yeah. So, how much do you personally know about the menopause and perimenopause?
Not enough, I feel, that I feel I'm having to Google a lot of symptoms just to see if it is that or not, and always feeling quite unsure. No one really speaks about it enough, and then you're not quite sure if you're going crazy, if it's a normal menstrual cycle symptom because they're very similar, or if this is actually something else
Yeah.
at times. And
Yeah.
it's quite scary to navigate.
Oh no, bless you. So, I'm going to talk a little bit quickly about the menopause. So, in particular, perimenopause. So, this is when you have the symptoms leading up to it, but you're still having your periods every month. And then, once you've had no periods for a year, this is when it's classed as menopause. So there's this like big time really between perimenopause and menopause.
Really is.
But I wanted to ask you, Rachel, what sort of symptoms have you experienced personally?
So for me, I find night sweats quite a lot.
Yep.
It's very uncomfortable. Not every night. So then that's when you start thinking, am I just ill?
Yeah.
Or is this it? But then it will happen a few nights in a row and then not, and then it will happen again. And for no particular reason whatsoever, you're just finding yourself kicking the covers off and you're just drenched,
Yeah.
absolutely, which is really awful. Sometimes, like confusion, like the brain fog,
Yeah.
where the kids think I'm not listening to them, or I'm not, I just literally don't remember they've told me something
Yeah.
at all. Like, I can just completely forget a whole section has happened.
Yeah.
And that's quite scary, really, because
Yeah.
you kind of think, was I concentrating or was I not? Like what really is going on here? And it's quite hard to explain to people, especially when you work full time in a really busy environment
Yeah.
and you're trying to keep on top of things. And working in sales, it's really difficult to be really high demanding customers
Yeah.
that expect a lot, and then you're just like, I completely forgot to do that.
Oh, bless you.
A notebook becomes your best friend.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Have you experienced anything else really?
I think the only thing sort of like period wise is that changes quite a lot. So like for years and years you know what to expect
Yeah.
from yourself, what's normal for you, and then all of a sudden it isn't.
Yeah.
So I find I can have a really heavy period for like 2 days solid where nothing will soak it up
Yeah.
constantly, and blood clots and things like that. And then you start wondering if something's wrong
Yeah.
until you have to Google it and then see that, oh, this actually could be the symptom of perimenopause. And then it will just disappear overnight.
That must be so frustrating and hard to navigate, like you said,
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to happen and when.
No.
And I can imagine, obviously, I'm not going through it yet, I'm only in my 20s, but I can imagine that's so stressful and so. Because I know people say, oh, periods aren't meant to affect your day to day life, but I can imagine with perimenopause that it's actually something that you are thinking about a lot more.
Mm.
And then, like you said, with the night sweats, that's going to affect your sleep, and then that
Yeah.
has such a knock-on effect on everything as well.
Yes. And like for last night, for example, I happened to wake up because my son came home at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then it took me 3 hours to get back to sleep.
Oh wow.
And I've never had a problem sleeping like
Yeah.
previously, but just lately, if I do, I tend to wake up, I can't go back to sleep. Like
Yeah.
my sleep's really disrupted with things. So then you start looking to what supplements you can take and things,
Yeah.
and the list is endless.
Oh, 100%. I said this in my PCOS episode as well. Like, there's just so many health trends at the moment. People are pushing so much to sell you the next biggest thing,
Yeah,
but I feel like they don't really explain what it's doing and why.
yeah, and everything seems to be doing the same thing. So it's like,
Yes.
do I take everything, or am I overdosing, or
Yeah.
what do I? So at the minute, it is collagen powder in my drinks in the morning. I have had magnesium in the past, but I don't know if now I should try that again because of the sleep thing.
Yeah.
Um, and one of my colleagues at work is also going through stuff, and I know she does like yoga and Pilates and things,
Mm.
and the period thing affects her because she's like, I can't do yoga at the minute because I'm flooding so much.
Yeah.
It's like, so it really does just affect everything. And now, what do you do for the best
Yeah,
at times?
definitely. So I know we mentioned a couple of symptoms, but for the listeners, I just wanted to say a few more in case people are wondering, like, what are the symptoms? Like you said, trying to Google.
Yeah,
So we've got obviously mood swings, anxiety. I don't know if that's something you've experienced, but a lot of women do struggle with anxiety.
I find that I'm more anxious in general.
Yeah.
I've always been quite a laid back person, I would like to think. But I think now it's sometimes the anxiety of even going to work, even though I've got nothing to worry
Oh,
about.
bless you.
But sometimes you're really worried about what email you might come into, or things that are actually a big deal in the
Yeah.
greater scheme of things, but they start worrying you, and you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach that you can't quite explain, where you feel like something bad's gonna happen, but you're not quite sure why you
Yeah.
feel like that. So yeah, that's definitely something.
Yeah, 100%. You already mentioned quite a few of them that I've got written down. So brain fog again,
Yeah,
that is a huge thing. And like you said, it can be very scary for people at times and this can like play into the mood swings as well because you're feeling like so emotional and then if you're forgetting stuff and you're feeling that
yeah,
confusion, you're then getting frustrated with yourself. And when you're already having these mood swings, it can just amplify them.
absolutely.
Hot flushes, you talked about. Low self esteem was a huge one I seen when I was looking online.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's something that you've suffered with, but just feeling you're not good enough, and maybe that's also playing into the anxiety as
I
well.
think it just all links in the whole mood
Yeah,
thing, really. It just
yeah,
makes you feel like that.
definitely. And then we had like difficulty sleeping, palpitations as well.
Yeah, the heart
Um,
palpitations is,
yeah,
yeah,
but I did think that maybe, obviously, I don't know this for 100% sure, but I thought that maybe due to like as we get older, we're more inclined to have heart conditions as well.
mm,
But also, again, like I said, everything's linking. It could be the anxiety playing in as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I also had muscle aches, but also skin changes, which I didn't know was one.
Yeah, so I find that my skin got really dry,
Oh,
started
okay.
getting quite dry in places. So having to adapt like your skincare routines
Yeah.
and things, and trying different things. But yeah, definitely a dryness of skin. I find it on my body as well.
Yeah.
My skin's a lot drier. Um, so yeah, it's like you don't recognize yourself, and I think that's part of the problem
Yeah.
in why you feel the way you do.
I can imagine that as well, because like you're saying with like, your periods changing and you're so used to like, your cycle, you've got it
Yeah.
down to a T, you've finally figured it out for some people, and then you start this phase and you're just sort of like, what is happening to my body?
Yes.
So I can definitely imagine it being like that. I know we've kind of touched on this briefly, but I want to go into it in more detail. What impact has going through the perimenopause had on your life? So whether it's work, your family, relationships with people, just in general.
Yeah, so I think like the work thing I said before, the anxiety of going into work for things
Yeah.
that just never bothered me before. I do find myself more irritable at times, and I do try and check myself
Yeah.
at, just from previous like learnings when you've had PMT and stuff in younger years and things like that.
Yeah.
I always try and check myself, especially with the kids. But certain work colleagues at the minute, I can't stand.
Yeah.
Just hearing their voice actually makes me want to punch them in the face.
Yeah. And that's okay.
And I know it's like really like they haven't done anything, and
Yeah.
I know it's really like it feels like an exaggerated emotion to feel, but I feel myself bubbling up inside like a volcano about to erupt,
Yeah.
and I'm having to keep it inside.
Oh, bless you. Just as a quick thing for the listeners, if anyone is feeling like that, what do you find helps when you're feeling like that and you've got this co-worker yapping at you, maybe?
Yes, it is literally just deep breaths and just having to sort of speak to myself
Yeah.
to calm myself down and just try and take a minute,
Yeah.
because you know it's ridiculous. They haven't done anything wrong. Like just hearing someone's voice is making you so angry that they
Yeah.
haven't done anything. um, and I find speaking to my sister, because I work with my sister,
Yeah.
um, and she's quite a bit younger than me, but also started experiencing some things. So I find that talking to her about it
Yeah.
helps, because we swap stories, and then you're like, oh, that's normal then.
Yeah.
And then you feel a little bit better, because you're like, I know it's ridiculous what I'm feeling, but I know it's a normal feeling.
Yeah.
I just need to handle it.
I can imagine as well, like, being seen, seen as an adult, we're expected to be able to like keep our emotions in check. And I think,
Yeah,
especially for women, there's like this almost like acknowledgement of we have to be calm, we have to be like,
we're not meant to complain.
yeah. So I can imagine when you're having all these mood swings and these emotions, which are completely fine, but we sort of live in this world where it's like, why are you being dramatic? Why are you saying this?
Yeah.
Why do you want to punch your coworker in the face for doing nothing?
Yeah, not to be dramatic, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is really difficult, and I think I work in quite a male environment, really,
Yeah.
and they don't understand.
Yes.
If you mention menopause to my director, he would absolutely have a panic attack and shut his office door on you,
Yeah.
because he wouldn't know how to handle things.
Yeah.
And they are quite, there are a few women a little bit older than me, so they're all sort of going through different stages really now,
Mm.
and you can just see, but everyone's expecting them just to act as they've always acted and
Yes.
be how they always are. There's no sort of lenience
Yes.
to that, and life and your routine, it just doesn't happen like that,
No.
and people can't expect you to always be perfect,
Yeah.
I think, is the
Yeah.
thing.
Definitely. You kind of led me on to a question that I wanted to go on to actually. With you saying like with your director, he just sort of shuts the door. He doesn't want to hear about perimenopause or menopause or the big word.
Mm.
How do you think, in a perfect world, of course, that workplaces and industry should support and help people navigate the menopause? Like, what support do you think should be in place as always, as standard?
The standard, that is really tricky actually, because
Mm.
everyone's experience is different. But I think, especially with things like in fast environments,
Mhm.
so brain fog is such a massive thing. So, someone that has probably been on their A game all their life
Yes.
in a high paced industry, like such as what I'm in right now, and then all of a sudden, all these things are going to hit, and they're not going to be working at their full capacity,
Yeah.
or what's been used to their full capacity. So I feel like there needs to just be more understanding, and maybe like timelines extended, changed, some sort of timeout things
Yeah.
put in place for them, because yeah, it's just not manageable at all. And I think that probably accentuates the other symptoms like the anxiety and things like that, because you're still trying to be the person you was 10 years ago, and it's impossible
Yeah,
to be that without any help or understanding or any changes
yeah,
to your life. So I do think everything just has a knock on effect for everybody really.
definitely. And I think what you just said there also could play into that, like self esteem
Yeah,
issues with people. They said trying to be the person who they used to be, but when you do start the menopause, it's just not reachable. And I think that's a really good message to put out for people that it's okay if you can't work the same as you used to, or
yeah,
your relationships aren't the same as they used to be. That
yeah.
doesn't, it's not a bad thing. It just
No,
means that you've got to accommodate for yourself. And I think being able to put boundaries in for yourself as well, I think that's such a really important for anyone, no matter what stage of life they're in.
yeah,
But I think it's something as not just as women but as people we forget to do, and we just I know so many people who are people pleasers, and they will try and they'll put their health on the back burner
yeah,
for their work, for their family, for the needs, and also like you said, life just keeps going on. So I think people, it's such a really key message, and I think I've said it in nearly every episode I've done now, but having these boundaries are so important.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I think another thing that I would say is education. I think that's such an important thing for workplaces
yeah,
because, you know, no matter who you are, no matter what stage of life you're going through, no matter who you are going to meet someone at one point in your life who's going through the menopause.
yeah,
And it's like, how do you support that person? Even if it's just a family member, how do you support that person?
exactly.
And I think if it was normalized within the workplace, it would be a lot more normalized in families, in everywhere really.
But I think it would encourage people to talk about it more. I mean, we've got laws in place for maternity,
Yeah,
but there's nothing for this later stage that all women go through.
yeah,
And I mean, not all women go through pregnancy, but we've got laws in places to protect them
yeah,
from, they can't be made redundant, they can't lose their job role because of pregnancy, but there's not really much in place for menopausal women
yeah,
that suddenly perhaps drop in their performance
yeah,
and they might be at risk of losing a job
yeah,
because of that, because of the lack of understanding of what they're going through, and the lack of understanding probably that they don't know what they're going through
yeah,
as well,
100%.
because not all doctors are supportive
No,
and are not always quick to want to diagnose or treat menopausal symptoms.
100%. And I think brings up a really amazing point as well of, how do you go to the doctors if you don't know what's going on?
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, for example, say to sleep,
Mm.
you said you could be up for hours. People wouldn't always necessarily think that's perimenopause. They would just think, oh, I'm not sleeping great at the moment.
Yeah.
And then, they're missing out on that help and that extra support that they could be getting. Or, like seeking out support groups and stuff like that because they just don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely think, like you said, it needs to be made more aware of. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think a lot of women think they might be wasting doctors' time,
Yes.
especially how the NHS is at the moment, and it's very difficult to get a doctor's appointment. So
Mhm.
would you try and bother getting one when you're not even sure what's going on, and you might just get told you've got depression,
Yeah.
which a lot of people do.
Which is also crazy because
Yeah,
you would think, obviously, menopause happens at a certain age for most women. So you would think that they would be like, oh, okay, you're at this age now, let's maybe look at if it is perimenopause that
yeah.
you're going through, instead of just slapping a random label on it that's so generic as well.
Yeah, just easy for them, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely see how frustrating that would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely think it's something that needs to be talked about more. And what is your opinion on educating younger people, men and women, on the menopause?
I think it should be included as part of all the other health education that
Yeah.
our young people receive. My daughter is doing a GCSE health and social care at the moment,
Yeah.
and they have done a short syllabus in it, and I think this is the first year they've included it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, she taught me things from it
Wow.
when I was saying stuff, and she was like, "Yeah, mum, that's just the menopause. That is
Yeah.
perimenopausal," and you know, she really took it on board, and she thought it was really important as a girl herself to learn about it.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, that's coming in at like age 14 plus, but I think even sooner,
Yeah.
eventually, as part of a normal health education for our young
Definitely.
people, because I think the boys need to learn about it as much as they learn about pregnancy as
Yes.
well. I think they need to know because they don't understand what's happening, and how can they be supportive partners in the future if they don't know what their partner's going through
Exactly.
and they've never heard of it, which a lot of them haven't. It's just sort of a name that gets branded about every so often when someone has a mood swing or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many other things to it that they need to understand, as well as like the body changes, um, the bone deficiency that you can get
Yeah.
from it. I think we should be taught everything, not just these changes to periods, losing the periods, and all these other little things and the mood swings, but actually what it's actually doing to the insides of our bodies, the things we need to sort out as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know strength training is one of them that we need to do. I see creatine banded around a lot for that,
Yeah.
but only if you're doing the strength training, because otherwise that's no good on its own.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe should be more fitness classes for the
Yeah.
menopausal people as well, just based on
Definitely.
those.
And then it's also that idea of bringing community together
Yeah,
because, if you had a room full of women doing, like you said, strength training together, you're all going through the same phase. Obviously, every person's going to experience differently,
yeah,
but then you've got that community, you've got that shoulder to lean on when you
yeah,
need to. I definitely think that's important. And I think when you were saying about your daughter and her learning about it, I feel like you said it should definitely be younger. But I also think not just in health and social care, in
no,
like just general
just general health
education.
education.
Yeah, 100%.
Like when they
We,
learn about stuff in biology, perhaps.
yeah,
It just needs to
definitely.
be included
Yeah.
within that.
I learned about it when I did my degree. So we learned about both like male and female sex hormones and like the cycles of them for both men and women. But then we also learnt about PCOS, and then we learnt about menopause as well, and then we also did infertility and IVF and
Yeah,
stuff. But it was really interesting for me to learn about because I feel like I'd heard the word and it gets thrown about quite a lot, like you
it
said.
does.
Someone has an off day or you start in the menopause, and
Yeah,
it's like this almost joke, and it makes a
yeah,
laughing stock out of such a what can be a horrible experience for women.
yeah,
So I think for me to actually learn about it, even as a 20-year-old woman, it was definitely eye opening and be like, gosh, people actually can really struggle with this.
yes,
It's not just someone being, a bit moody or like, oh, have you got a hot flush coming? Oh, you look like you've got a flush.
yeah,
Because that's a very popular joke as well, isn't it?
yeah,
That
the
people
hot
have.
flush thing. Oh, you're having
Yeah,
a flush.
yeah,
But I
definitely.
remember working with a lady a few years ago now,
Mm.
and she was going through it, and she was always very nesh. Like, she always had jumpers and jackets on
Mhm.
in the office, but then every so often she would literally have to just strip off
Mm.
to like bare minimum, and she used to describe it as being sat next to a gas fire that got put onto full heat all of a sudden, and she couldn't move away from it,
Yeah.
and that heat going through her body.
Oh gosh.
That's how she used to describe it.
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds hideous.
It does, to be honest.
Yeah, and then as soon as it was gone,
Mm.
she was fine, but she would be so red and flushed, and
Oh, bless her.
it would just come on all of a sudden in like the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
just sat. as normal, working at a and then she couldn't work
Yeah.
because this was happening and she couldn't cope
Yeah.
because it was making her feel sick and dizzy and stuff with the heat. And
Yeah.
that was like my first thing. I was like, wow, this really happens, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a shock to see people experiencing the menopause, and actually I think if people even sat down and took 5 minutes to ask how they was actually doing with it,
Yeah,
people would actually realize how, use of a better word, debilitating it can be
it really is.
sometimes.
Yeah,
And I think even talking to you, because I've not spoke to you about it much,
no.
being my stepmom, and like even having this conversation, I'm like, oh wow, like this is a lot. So I think, as someone who tries to be aware of people and tries to understand what people are going through, it just makes me see the massive gap that there is. Because, I've been learning about like all these different subjects
Yeah.
for women's health, and like I've gone into like depression that I did on episode 1. um, but, I thought it was really important to actually show that menopause is something that we should be learning. And even
Yeah,
I'm learning right now.
yeah,
And it's so crazy that there is little to nothing.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it is crazy. I know you said obviously you've not been to the doctors with menopause yet,
No.
but what have you heard from like your community about people's experience with the doctors? Has it been pretty good and pretty bad?
It's been quite neutral. So I work with two ladies that are over 50,
Yeah.
and both of them have been going to the doctor's blood test. So one has been put on a trial of HRT,
Yes.
but I think getting the doses right, even that's just so difficult. Like they're having
Yeah.
to go back to the doctor all the time. And if the doses aren't right, it can make you feel worse.
Yeah.
And I know she really struggles with that. And my other colleague, she almost is getting dismissed. Like she's
Oh wow.
having the hot flushes at work. Um, she's going months and months of that period, and maybe she'll get some light spotting, but then there's nothing.
Yeah.
So it's almost at that point where it's stopping. And she had, I know she won't mind me saying because I'm not going to name her, but
Yeah.
she had a period where her vagina was so dry
Yeah.
it was hurting her.
Oh wow, bless.
And she kept going to doctors for that. The menopause was never mentioned to her at all. They just kept telling her that she'd got a UTI or she'd got thrush and giving her different stuff. Then they prescribed her some moisturising cream specialist, and nothing was working. And this went on for around 6 months that she was
Oh my
suffering.
goodness.
Like she was in a lot of pain with
Yeah.
it. And then eventually she got told that she actually got an infection,
Oh wow.
and then she got antibiotics, and then she started to feel better with that, and then they started doing the blood test for menopause. But it just felt like she was fighting at every stage,
Yeah.
like no one was listening to her. And I think this is the problem,
Yeah.
that some doctors and some GPs are just not willing to hear it.
No, 100%.
And I know they're under pressure, and it's always a quick in and out,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just a fight for everyone, I think,
Yeah.
right now, that GPs haven't got time to hear it and they're not
No.
hearing it.
There definitely needs to be more of a the the GPs need to sort of like be not more aware, because obviously they know what the menopause is, they're a
Yeah,
GP, but like more open to getting the next steps ready for people. I think
yeah,
that's definitely something that needs to be instilled. And I'm really sorry that happened to your friend. It sounds so horrible.
yeah,
And I can imagine, going in and out of doctor's appointments all the time can be such a big impact on her mental health as well,
yeah,
along with probably everything else that she was going through. And even like you said, with the symptoms of like, the dryness so bad that it was hurting, I can just imagine how that must have affected her everyday life.
Yeah, it really did.
And 6 months is way too long for
Yeah,
her to be struggling with that. That is
yeah,
not great.
yeah. It's just women just don't seem to be heard enough, and I think
No.
sometimes it's almost because us women as well that because we feel like we need to be the stronger ones, and
Yeah.
I think we almost make ourselves dismissive of our symptoms,
Yes.
like a keep calm and carry on sort of situation,
Mhm.
and we don't want to speak about it as
Yeah.
well, and we're just like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll just go away,
Yeah.
almost.
Definitely. I was saying this as well in another episode, like the pressure that not only society puts on women, but the pressure we put on ourselves
Mm,
to, like you said, we just got to keep carrying on. Like, we'll be fine. And then, like, that, what I mentioned earlier as well, like, we put our health on the back burner
yeah,
because we worry about other things and everyone else. And when you're having these symptoms as well, you just sort of like, I can imagine it just being like, I'll think about it later.
yeah,
And then, because you said, if you're having the brain fog, you're trying to keep up with everyday life,
yeah.
you just feel like you've almost not got time to take your health
No,
seriously.
that's true. Yeah,
And I think it is quite upsetting in a way that we're not giving ourselves the space to let life stop for a minute
yeah,
to prioritize our own health.
and go on to the next stage
Yeah,
because the
definitely.
menopause does end,
Yes.
and apparently it feels like a phoenix rising from
That sounds
the
amazing,
fire.
to be honest.
So I've been told, but it's just that whole forgetting who you are,
Yeah.
I think, or feel like you're losing yourself on the
Yeah.
way there. But yeah, I think because we just hear all these horror stories, and it is basically a horror story when you put it on
100%.
paper.
Yeah.
But with the right support, I think, it would let us navigate it so
Yeah.
much better.
Definitely. So, you mentioned previously HRT.
Mm,
So, I wanted to just explain that quickly. So, hormone replacement therapy is synthetic estrogen and progesterone. So, they're used in the menstrual cycle. Our body produces them naturally, and they help a lot with a couple of different roles. But one role that they have is with thickening the uterine lining. So, this is why women struggle with vaginal dryness
mm,
because they have this lack of estrogen and progesterone. So, that's one of the reasons it's used. But it also helps with hot flushes and night sweats because estrogen plays into like metabolism
yeah,
and just, your normal bodily functions. So, that's why you get these symptoms such as that. So, hormone replacement therapy helps to just alleviate and balance out your body's hormone levels. However, okay, so when I say this, it is a low chance and low percentages, but it can increase risk of stuff like breast cancer, endometrial cancer, stroke, coronary heart disease. And on the NICE guidelines, so this is what we use in the UK. So any healthcare professional uses it, and it allows us to know what medications to prescribe and what dosages, stuff like that.
mm,
So it did recommend that people should stop HRT if they have chest pains, breathlessness, and high blood pressure. So, as someone who might one day go on to HRT, how do these side effects like worry? Do they worry you? How do you feel about them?
I think they are a cause for concern.
Yeah,
However, I think in the greater good of things,
yeah,
it's worth a try.
100%.
And like you say, if you're recommended to stop it with certain symptoms arising, then
Yeah,
at least you've tried it. But I do think it's definitely worth a try and feel normal,
yes,
whatever that is to you.
yeah,
Again,
100%. And I think it also comes back to that point of like education, because these increased risks like breast cancer, just educating women on check your breasts more frequently
Yes.
maybe, and know what looks, like you said, quote unquote normal for
Yeah.
you, and just being aware of your body, but also like endometrial cancer, stroke, coronary heart disease, knowing the signs for these. Because I spoke to someone recently and she said that she had a heart attack, so not exactly a stroke but similar,
Yeah.
and she didn't realize she was having a heart attack. And she, long story short, she ended up in A&E for like, I think it was 14 hours, because obviously the wait times have been crazy. So she'd had this heart attack and she just didn't know that she'd had it. She just
Wow.
knew that something was wrong. So I think even being aware of the symptoms, reinforcing to people that it is a small chance, but just keep an eye on it,
Yeah.
but not in a way to scare people, because majority of people who go on HRT probably won't end up with these.
No, exactly. And I mentioned earlier about the bone deficiencies and things, and I think
Yes.
HRT also helps with that,
Yeah.
in the prevention of
Yeah,
that,
definitely.
as a, because say you're replacing certain hormones that you're losing
Yeah.
in your body. So, but yeah, and there's so many advances now with like the patches and things, and I've had friends that have gone on the patches
Yeah.
and said, they went from a really laid back person to being completely evil in their own words,
Yeah.
an absolute nightmare to be living with
Yeah.
until they went on the patches,
Yeah.
and then they just felt normal again. So I always think, well, I think I'd rather give that a try
Yeah.
than actually lose myself completely.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely on that.
And I think with how much of an impact it has on your everyday life, like we was just talking about, even if someone gives it a try, it just being able to have that relief, maybe clear even a little bit of brain fog,
Mm,
could make such a difference. And
yeah,
like not having this constant anxiety of feeling like something's gonna go wrong,
yeah,
I can imagine that having such a massive impact. But yeah, so we sort of, you've actually kind of touched on what else I was going to go on to. So some things that you can do to help with being on HRT is having a calcium rich diet because of the
yes.
osteoporosis, which you would probably think everyone should know. And I feel like calcium is in a lot of British diet
Yeah,
anyway, but I think just being aware of it, also for like people who don't have dairy,
yeah,
just even that, educating them on like, well, where can I get extra calcium from?
mm,
I think this is something that doctors should be signposting people to, like nutritionists or just someone specialist in menopause, just to be like, what do I need to do?
yeah,
Regular exercise, like you said, in particular strength training. I've seen online that vitamin D supplements are recommended.
yes, yes. I have seen that as well.
I didn't find why. It was just saying vitamin D supplements on
Yeah,
the
no,
nurse
that's all
guidelines.
I've seen, or getting yourself out in the sunshine.
Yeah.
But I think it's about the stimulation of other things it causes in your body,
Oh, okay.
other hormones it releases when you've got the vitamin D. So
Oh.
I don't know, but maybe that's somewhere where it's
Sounds
going.
good. But another thing that was mentioned was reducing smoking and alcohol intake,
Yeah,
which I think for healthcare professionals who don't smoke and drink is so easy to say. But in theory, how does someone do that, And I think that's one of the biggest bridges, or like one of the biggest gaps between professionals and patients. Because they say all this, "I'll just cut that out your diet, I'll just stop smoking."
yeah,
But if you've been smoking for the past, I don't know, say 30 years, how do you go about that
yeah.
without slapping 10 nicotine patches on you like your Nessa from Gavin and Stacey?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky that I've never smoked.
Yeah.
So I don't have that problem. But I do like my wine.
That's it.
You
You
see,
see,
but that's how I unwind after work when I've had a really stressful day.
you're gonna need it though
Yes.
after working in
And then I
sales.
think, why should I give up everything I like, as well as
Honestly,
everything else that's going on?
well, that's it. So I think definitely there needs to be doctors need to be able to put achievable goals in, maybe. So maybe
Yeah,
saying maybe let's reduce a couple units a week for
yeah,
now.
yeah,
But I think there's also that thing of doctors don't check in the UK. They just sort of like, okay, off you go.
yeah. I think like years and years ago, there was more of that, where there was more community doctors.
Yes.
I mean, I remember my GP when I was a child, who would come out in the middle of the night if I was ill.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get that now.
No.
You can't ring an out of hours and have your GP come, because who even sees the same GP every time anymore?
That's it. Yeah.
A lot of places you just don't have that same. They don't know you.
No, exactly.
They look at your notes, but how they interpret what the previous doctors wrote
Yeah.
is also, you know, it could vary from
Yeah.
what each other mean.
And having to re explain your symptoms and re divulge into that in 10 minutes and go on to like what happened at the last appointment.
Yeah,
I just feel like sometimes 10 minutes isn't enough.
no.
So I could go on forever about why I think that the structure isn't good, but
No, I get that. I just
yeah,
feel like now, and I think that's what puts people off going to the doctors
yeah, 100%.
as well,
Yeah,
because you just not got that personal service
no,
that we deserve, really. We all
100%.
deserve that. And I know GPs just don't always have the time for it, but are they
No,
all going into for the love of giving that personal service now? I'm not quite so sure.
yeah, definitely. Um, Before we finish, if you could give like one top tip or one piece of advice to the audience, or for someone who was not sure whether they was going through the menopause, starting the menopause, or if they know, what would be like your one top tip for someone?
I think my top tip that I found is talking with my girlfriends about it.
100%.
Um, I think they are your best support network,
Yes.
whether that be family, friends, colleagues that you're close to, or anybody,
Yeah.
is to just talk about how you're feeling. I find that's helping us in
Yeah.
our group at the moment,
Oh,
and
bless.
it's nice when you say you like, I feel like this at the moment, and I don't know why. And someone's like, oh, I'm glad that's normal, because
Yeah.
I've had that as well, and just being able to talk openly about feeling ashamed of
Yeah.
how you're feeling. I think it's the shame part of it that also needs to go. That I think that's probably why women don't always talk about it.
100%. Yeah.
Like we said before, that we should always be strong
Yeah.
and carry on. And I think that's what gives us the shame slightly. But I think just talking about it,
Yeah.
even if we make a joke about it amongst ourselves, that's
Yeah.
okay. Just make it light-hearted. It doesn't always have to be serious.
No.
But I think just keep talking
Yeah.
and
100%.
keep it out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time today,
that's
Rachel.
okay.
It's been amazing to have you on. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening to Rebloom. If you have found this episode helpful at all, please share it with someone who you think might benefit. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Bye.